inviting me to the Drucker Forum. It is a deeply, deeply depressing and awful experience coming to the Drucker Forum because I never met the man. And it is very frustrating to discover somebody as wonderful as obviously you all have known for some years, to discover somebody so late in life and having missed them. So this has been an extraordinary experience for me. It's lovely to hear about risk management. I remember my board telling me that I had to do risk management, so I went away and I wrote them down 13 and a half risks. And I took them to the board and I said, these are the 13 risks, and I went through them all. And the last one is that if you make me do this exercise again, I might stop taking risks, which would be the riskiest thing for this business at the moment. The subject, I believe, of this talk is the future of management education. I would like to propose that as it stands, the future of management education is that business schools will take the majority of business education, but it will be the engineering piece of how to run a business. They will do, how do you work the engine of a business? They, I do not believe, will figure out, or most will not figure out, how to produce the leaders of business. I believe you are doomed to the engineering of it. I think that the leadership of it will come from new organizations who are faster, and much, 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 much faster. Second, organizations who are less burdened by buildings, models, and sponsors. Thirdly, they will come from organizations that are capable of working across countries, for which I do not mean that they are capable of convening international students to come to them, but they are capable of connecting countries and different cultures. It's an expression that I hear too much, to be the flying dead. The amount of senior people in all sectors who spend their lives flying around the world and landing and being expected to deliver in a new culture and then taking off 1 day, 2 days, 2 years, or 4 years later. They become very rapidly the flying dead because business schools are quite incapable of helping them to land. Fourthly, the leaders will be developed by the new organizations who are less Western and significantly less male, for which I do not mean male, I mean what has been associated with male for some time. I refuse to accept that it's female leadership on the basis of the human rights of my sons, who want to be able to lead like women lead, but not to be told that they're women. I better catch up, I've forgotten how many. And less Western, of course, happy Eid for anybody who has managed to break a very important religious holiday for this conference. And the last point is that the future of leadership development will live with organizations who can operate in the way that we are asking our leaders to operate in. I tried very hard last night to think about the story I would try and choose. What was the one that was the right one for this very moment? And so I thought I would tell you the story of something happened to me last week. And it happened to me in Scotland with a certain Scottish bank. Some weeks ago, they came to us and they said, we have a 2-year course going on at the moment for our senior leaders across the bank. And there's something we're missing. And so I said to them, what are you missing? They said to me, how can you help us make them more responsible? So I said what seemed to me to be a self-evident question is, what exactly would you like them to feel responsible for? And they looked at me rather blankly, because, you know, I come from an NGO, so I must be mad. But they looked blankly, and I said, I don't understand the question. I said, what would you like them to be responsible for? And then they said, for the world that surrounds them. And I said, but they know nothing about the world that surrounds them. So last week, we took them off their 2-year course, and we took them into Edinburgh. Not for a tourism tour. We took them because our classroom is a city. And they met leaders, all kinds of different leaders who do not do things the Scottish Bank's ways. Yes? And they met leaders in many, many different forms. And their tipping point came when they went to the main prison in the middle of Edinburgh. And they were deeply shocked by what they, assuming by this they mean the leaders of Edinburgh, whoever they happen to be, they were deeply shocked by what they have let happen in our society. The tip came because, unfortunately, as they sadly contemplated this problem, some unfortunate person said, is there anything we could do? At which point the governor said yes, which was deeply disappointing to them. The governor said, can you get them bank accounts when they leave this place? Because if you don't have a bank account, you cannot receive benefits. Yeah. And if you do not receive benefits, you almost certainly will reoffend, and you will end up back here. And there was an extraordinary moment of silence. And then they said, we are commercial bankers, not retail side of the bank. So these 25 very senior bankers did not say, we'll go away and see if we can help. They said, we are commercial and not retail bankers. And later on that afternoon, they had a long conversation about what was causing them to fail to work collaboratively across the bank. And secondly, they had a deep conversation about why they completely failed to be optimistic. Now, it's not fun to be in that bank at the moment. It's pretty grim. But believe me, it is not as grim as it is as running a prison. And somehow they saw people who were running a prison who were more optimistic than a banker was. And they said to me at the end, because I went and spoke to them, is that we've had 2 years worth of coaching and business school interventions. And it's only that caused us to have what we, in my world, call the aha moment. The aha moment that all of us share and dream of when the people you are with, the people you are trying to help learn, when they suddenly say, I'm the problem. Aha. So it's me. And they said, what is stopping us taking responsibility? What is stopping us innovating? And what is stopping us from being courageous? But they were talking about work and society. They were talking about what they'd seen in a prison and what they knew they did at work. I deeply, deeply reject the expression work-life balance. It is a totally meaningless expression to me. I am one person. I don't balance two things, and nor do I balance two things so that when one goes up, the other goes down. I believe that I'm one person. I don't trade off one against the other. As a mother, I become a better leader, and as a leader, I hope I become occasionally a better mother, though you should not ask my children. I was stunned by that expression this morning. This is not philanthropy, it's business. Well, to me, business is philanthropy, and philanthropy is business, Business is not in society, it's not of society, it is society. And for as long as people continue to split themselves into millions of little sections, you will not get the cross-fertilization and the inspiration and the energy and the ability to go into the other bit of you so that you can look at something from another angle and see it different. We agreed last week, go back to your chaos, somebody who's deeply misguided, who believes that you can manage complexity, stuns me. Complexity is wonderful. It's chaos. And complexity, messes, I love messes. It means that I can get in there and do exactly what I want. But we're taking them next year, these 25, to Mumbai, because every situation they try to tidy up. So I said, I tell you what, I'll take you to Mumbai and you'll see nobody could possibly tidy up Mumbai. But it is growing faster than you could ever grow. You have to learn to understand that you can't tidy everything in life. So the future of management education, I believe, is bright because it is diversifying. I think, finally, wonderful HR directors are talking the language of real leadership. They haven't quite got there yet. I heard the other day someone telling me that the future was to, have you heard this expression? To harness the talent of the young people. And I went to this man and I said, do you know what a harness looks like? It is a big, thick piece of leather that you strap around an animal's head to either force it to go somewhere it does not wish to go, or to force it to not go anywhere at all. There is one thing we cannot afford to do, and please, if I achieved anything today, never use the word harness ever again. And not that I've ever heard you say it, but anybody from your profession, we should be unleashing them. So I believe that businesses are beginning to talk the language of real leadership. Over the last few days, I've had hope that business schools are beginning to stop trying to be more business-like than what they think businesses are, which are out of date anyhow. And I hope that businesses are beginning to be braver about where they buy their leadership development from. Thank you.